They saw her as just another quiet black girl, an easy target for their cruelty, someone ripe for mockery and humiliation. Ethan and Logan, blinded by their arrogance, had no clue who they were messing with when they shoved her in front of the jeering crowd. Her books scattered across the floor, her carefully constructed dignity ripped away like cheap fabric. "Relax, it's just a joke," Ethan sneered, his voice dripping with false amusement. Logan, ever the sycophant, chimed in, his voice a low, venomous hiss. She should know her place. But Tiana's eyes, usually downcast and demure, held no fear. They were hard, focused, radiating a chilling precision. The kind that doesn't need to shout or flinch, the kind that patiently waits for the perfect, devastating second. 3 seconds crawled by, the air thick with anticipation. Then the laughter died, choked off in mid-guffaw. A hush fell over the courtyard, spreading like a sudden, unexpected frost. In that silence, the real story began. Ever witnessed a scholarship kid fight back? They were about to. Ethan, fueled by the rapt attention of his audience, sneered and kicked Tiana's bag down the crowded hallway, sending its contents skittering across the linoleum. Laughter, that ugly, parasitic sound that thrives on someone else's pain, rippled through the throng of students. They fed on the spectacle. Tiana Reed didn't flinch. She simply bent down, her movements deliberate and controlled, gathering her scattered notebooks one by one. Her eyes remained fixed on the floor, desperately trying to conceal the white-hot anger burning beneath the surface, a volcano threatening to erupt. Logan Pierce, ever the opportunist, recorded the scene with his phone, a smug smirk plastered across his face. "Smile for the camera, sweetheart. Let's show the world diversity in action." He punctuated the phrase with air quotes, reveling in his own perceived wit. When Tiana's hand reached for a silver badge that had slipped out of her bag, the cacophony of noise in the hallway subsided, replaced by a collective intake of breath. She froze, her fingers tightening around the cool metal. It was an emblem engraved with a stylized falcon, wings spread in flight, and the motto of the Air Force Academy, "Service before self." It was her father's badge, a symbol of sacrifice and unwavering dedication, a silent testament to the oppressor's lie. She quickly tucked it back into her bag, stood straight, and finally looked directly at them, her face calm, her posture unshaken. "Are you done?" she asked, her voice deceptively soft. It wasn't loud, but it cut through the hallway's ambient noise like a shard of glass, carrying a subtle, chilling threat that the bullies couldn't quite define, but instinctively understood. At lunch, the relentless cruelty continued. Ethan and Logan deliberately sat behind her table, their whispered insults just loud enough for everyone to hear. "You think her daddy's a janitor or a mailman?" Ethan snickered. "Nah, probably works at the gas station, pumping gas for the rest of his life," Logan added, his voice dripping with contempt. The surrounding students, faces averted, pretended not to notice the escalating situation. It was safer that way. Don't get involved. Keep your head down. Survive. Tiana ate quietly, her fork trembling almost imperceptibly before she steadied it with an iron will. The cafeteria air felt thick and heavy, saturated with the weight of their malice and the nervous energy of the silent observers. When her juice carton was deliberately slapped off the table, sending a sticky orange tide splashing across her lap, staining her crisp white shirt, she just stared at the spreading stain, her face a mask of controlled fury. No one offered to help. Not a single person. She stood up, the scraping of her chair against the tile a piercing shriek that momentarily silenced the room. Her eyes locked onto theirs once more, and this time, there was no softness, no vulnerability, only a cold, hard light. "You two really don't know when to stop," she stated, her voice flat and devoid of emotion. Ethan leaned back in his chair, a cruel smirk twisting his lips. "Or what? You gonna cry, little scholarship princess?" Tiana smiled faintly, a chilling, almost predatory expression. "Not exactly. But tell me, what would you do if this happened to you?" That afternoon, the two boys, emboldened by their earlier success, followed her outside, cornering her near the deserted parking lot. "Hey, soldier girl," Ethan mocked, waving the stolen badge tauntingly. "You dropped your shiny toy earlier." He had pilfered it from her locker, adding petty theft to his repertoire of offenses. Logan chuckled, his eyes gleaming with anticipation. "Careful, Ethan. She might call the diversity police on us." Tiana's jaw tightened, the muscles in her face clenching. For a split second, she seemed frozen, caught between anger and a calculated decision. Then, something shifted. Her posture subtly altered. Her breathing deepened and slowed. Her focus narrowed. Her feet moved half a step apart, grounding her, preparing her. Ethan, sensing weakness, reached out to shove her shoulder, but Tiana was ready. She caught his wrist mid-motion, her grip surprisingly strong. In a fluid, practiced movement, she pivoted, using his own weight and momentum against him. In less than 3 seconds, Ethan hit the asphalt hard, the air leaving his lungs in a whoosh. Logan, surprised but not deterred, lunged forward, his fists clenched. Tiana simply sidestepped, hooking her leg neatly behind his knee. With a grunt of surprise and pain, he went sprawling next to his friend, landing in an undignified heap. The entire scene unfolded with the speed and efficiency of a well-rehearsed dance, a controlled storm of motion. Silent, precise, surgical. Gasps filled the air. Phones stopped recording, their owners suddenly realizing the gravity of the situation. Tiana calmly adjusted her sleeve, brushing off a fleck of dust. She looked down at the two boys, her expression composed, almost detached. "My father taught me to never start a fight," she said evenly, her voice carrying a surprising authority. "But he also taught me how to finish one." A deep, resonant voice cut through the stunned silence. "Tiana." Every head in the vicinity swiveled. Colonel Nathan Reed stood by the gate, his very presence commanding the entire courtyard. The late afternoon sunlight glinted off the rows of service ribbons adorning his uniform, each a testament to his courage and commitment. Every student went still, frozen in place like statues. Even the bullies on the ground stopped breathing, their bravado evaporating in the face of true authority. He walked up slowly, his gaze sweeping from the two sprawled boys to his daughter, his expression unreadable. "Report," he commanded. "Situation under control, sir." Tiana replied without hesitation, her voice clear and confident. A faint smile touched the corners of his mouth, a flicker of pride carefully restrained by years of military discipline. Then he turned his attention to Ethan and Logan, his eyes hardening. "I led the Iron Falcon operation," he stated, his voice low and steady. 47 hostages rescued. No casualties. You two just learned why. The boys' faces drained of color, leaving them pale and shaken. Colonel Reed's tone softened, but only slightly. "Strength isn't about humiliation. It's about control. Remember that before you try to make someone small again." He placed a hand on Tiana's shoulder, a silent gesture of support and affection, guiding her away as teachers rushed in to manage the aftermath of the confrontation. Later, as the sun dipped low on the horizon, casting long shadows across the campus, Tiana paused by the flagpole, the same silver badge catching the last rays of light. She clutched it tightly, the cool metal a reassuring weight in her palm. She whispered almost to herself, "Respect is earned, not forced." Behind her, the campus remained silent, the kind of silence that lingers long after justice has been served. A silence pregnant with unspoken lessons and lingering fear. A silence that finally spoke volumes.